Today, we are basically going to learn about what it is that makes an income solid. All incomes are not made equal. Some incomes can make you a billionaire faster than others. And if you know this early in your life, it can help you actually make choices, including career choices. What kind of choices would you be making? So so the content today is what is solid income and where do you get this income? So what are the sources as well as the qualities of this solid income? And then we will then now talk about once you get this income, how do you manage it? And we will learn a new concept that I call the Chapo principle today. So let me start by just defining solid income. Now, like I said, there are some incomes that you can rely on for life, while others are quite temporal. For example, if you are employed, you know that one day, if you are not, if you do not resign or you are not fired, there will come a time when you will actually have to retire, which is a must for everybody. That means you have to leave work. And if you have been saving or if you have been investing, then you have to switch to your new source of income, which is not employment but another source of income. So that is, for example, one type of income. We will actually be looking at what are the qualities that make a solid income. But then let me talk about another source of income. For example, some of us actually know that you can start a business. And once you start this business, you own it. The income that you get is actually sometimes perpetual, except for the risk that at one stage it can go away. Your business can collapse, then your income goes away. However, this income, once you start earning a business income, it is an income that you will earn for the rest of your life and you can bequeath it to your kids. That means it's generational. It's a different source of income. So if you are successful in business, and unfortunately only 10% of the people are successful in business, then you know your income is perpetual and you can actually bequeath it to your generations, as opposed to for example, performance income. Now let me talk about, for example, someone who's a footballer. A footballer will earn income, a lot of income, in his active days. Those are his heydays. Those are the times when he's on form and he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. If he's a striker, he's actually scoring goals. That is performance income, which he earns while he's actually doing this game, and it can be a lot of money. However, once he ages, maybe gets to the age of 30, most of them actually die off at the age of 30, so they can no longer participate actively. Then they have to start relying on the income or another source of income. So if you look at performance income, you only earn it when you are at your top gear. That is another source of income, a different type. In a nutshell, solid income simply means income that is guaranteed, income that, yes, let me just use one word, that it's income that is guaranteed. You'll keep earning it as long as you are alive. That is solid income. Next, I want to now look at what solid income really means. So what are the qualities of a solid income? And I will quickly just go over this. We know speed. How fast does money come to you? After you have done your bit of the contract, after you have worked, when will you receive this money? Will you receive it after a week or after a month? If it's a week, wages. If it's after a month, we call it a salary. If it's after a year, maybe I should call it contract payment. But you can see that if you are waiting for some income at the end of the year, let's say farmers, for example, who plant maize in Kitale, those farmers expect their income to come in at the end of the year. That is after waiting for one whole year. And sometimes you guys know that sometimes it's not reliable that income will really come in. Like last year and the other year, the guys didn't even receive that income because, of course, some unscrupulous traders brought in maize from neighboring countries, and then they missed that income. So the longer your income takes, the riskier it is that you will receive that income. And it even gets worse because In the meantime, you need to be earning something to sustain yourself, because you have to eat, you have to dress, therefore speed really matters. And therefore the best income maybe is the income that you receive on a daily basis. Some people just receive minute or second incomes. Income just flows in every second. So that is maybe the ideal situation when it comes to speed. So when you're talking about your income, think about how long will this income take to come in. If it's a year, then of course you know that it might not be very helpful in the short run. Next is, after you have received your big chunk of this income, will there be more when you are not going to work? When you are not going to work, will there be an income? That is it residual? I like things like commission income, like people who do insurance. They have an income we call a residual income, because once they have brought the customer and this customer has purchased a policy, even if they stop working for that insurance company, they still continue earning their commissions. So it's actually residual, in that you keep earning it for the rest of your life, or as per your contract with that insurance company. Therefore, residual income is important because it takes care of you even when you are not working. Some employment incomes are structured like that, so that after employment, your employer continues to pay you. However, things like pension come in to bridge that gap, because once you have stopped being employed, your income stops, and then the pension takes over, and you earn some little income. However, how would you like an income that actually guarantees you residual income? You basically know that even when I'm not working, still money will come in. Then next is multiple streams. This income should come in multiple streams. I like talking about things like a big river, like the River Tana in Kenya. This river does not start as big as it ends up in the Indian Ocean. It's small droplets and small streams that join together to form this huge river. If your income has that capability of small items here and there dropping in to actually make a huge income, then that is an ideal income, as opposed to maybe, for example, income that you get on your as a salary. Some of us actually depend only on one income. We just know that at the end of the month, one income stream will flow in. Therefore, we run the risk that when this income stream doesn't flow in, then we have no way of survival. And as we go through these classes, we'll actually be talking about how do you plan and engineer multiple streams of income. Then next, I want to talk about legal. Your income needs to be legal for it to be a solid source of income. If your income is coming from corruption proceeds, for example, corruption or drug, you're dealing in drugs, or you're a thief, then that is not legal income, and it is standing on sand. We might have noticed that in Kenya there is a crackdown on guys who have maybe stolen some money, and their assets are now being frozen and taken back by the government. So if your income is not legal, then it is not solid, because one day, even if you are not here, even if you are passed on and you left it to your kids, one government will come up and just simply say all illegal incomes will be confiscated, and your income will be confiscated, and that means that you will be left without income. Therefore, income that is solid also has to be legal. Next is generational. I have talked about this concept where you create an income stream now, and then that income stream goes on and on for generations to come. It's an important stream of income. In fact, the richest people in the world currently are people who have inherited. So inheritance is a big source of income. And you can just imagine if you inherit maybe from a president or a former president, you know in Africa that is a lot of money. One former president of ours said it is enough to feed his 7 generations and they won't even finish it. So it means that income that is created and is generational. There are some other incomes, let's say patterned incomes. where after you have created something and you patent it, you take a patent, you register patent, 99 years later, your family will still be benefiting from that patent. So that's generational income. Then freedom. Are you enslaved by your source of income? That this source of income is the one that controls your life. I remember during the slave days, Africans will be taken out of Africa and taken to the Caribbean to actually tend to sugarcane farms, and you couldn't leave. You couldn't. There was no holiday. There was no leave. There was you when you went there, you went to work, and you worked from day one up to your last day. That kind of income is really not solid. It doesn't have freedom. So you need an income that gives you some freedom to even enjoy life with your family, to have a work-life balance. Very important. Next, your income you should be able to control it. Do you have any ability to increase your income? Does it mean that if you said, I want to increase my income by 20%, can I do that? If it doesn't give you any control over you increasing it or reducing it or varying it in any amount, then that is not solid income. And you should be asking yourself, how can I create income that I can control? Income that I can say, I want to earn 100,000 next month, and I know what I can do to earn 100,000. There are some incomes, for example, today I was reading a report from the United States, and in the United States at the moment, the biggest increases for the best employees is actually less than 5%. It's actually 4.6%. And the general increase is actually 3%. That means that however hard you work, your income will only increase 4.5. What if you want to 10x it? You want to increase it 10 times. Do you have that ability to 10x your income? Income that is controllable, you should be able to 10x it or 100x it, depending on your income, on your input. Then scalable. Now, scalable simply means you can increase it, you can change it, you can increase the streams that are coming in. It's the same as controllable. And lastly, income should be enjoyable. When you wake up and you're thinking about going to work, does it motivate you? Is it really the thing that you want to do for that day? Or you're just going because you must go? If you don't go, there'll be no income. If it is enjoyable, then it's a good stream of income. So those are the qualities of a solid income. Many of the young people who will be going through this video will actually be asking themselves, is my income solid? And if it doesn't meet most of the things that we have mentioned and it is not solid, then you should be thinking about, how can I change my situation? Because an income can box you and simply make you live a life of slavery. Okay. Next, I want to talk about some types of incomes. I mentioned earlier that most individuals, when they leave university or training colleges, what they know of are two types of incomes. They know that they can get employed and they can make some business income. And now in Kenya, we have the betting problem. So people also know that they can make some income out of lottery, which is gambling, which is actually just, yes, gambling is gambling. It's not a solid type of income. But let me talk about the income. So employment income. Already I've mentioned a lot about this. Civil servants, bankers, security guards, everybody who works actually earns an employment income. And part of the exercise that we'll be doing later would be, can I rate this income? How can I tell that my source of income is actually solid? And on our website, Financial Matters website, you can actually find a survey that will help you figure out whether your income is actually solid. But let me talk about the types of income. So I've talked about employment income, I've talked about betting and lottery. And I would advise that you keep away from this one, because the chances of winning is just 1 out of 16 million, which is quite low. It's better to have a solid plan of earning an income than depending on gambling. Next is business income, farming, retailing, any income that you make out of selling something, then that is business income. Affiliate marketing is another type of business income. However, in the recent past, it's actually gaining a lot of traction because of its ability to make people millionaires. And we'll be looking at affiliate marketing in detail, and all these other incomes. We'll also be just looking at them one by one in upcoming webinars, not today because of time, but we will be looking at them one by one. So we'll be looking at what is affiliate marketing, which it simply means selling somebody else's product, not as an employee, but as a partner. Then performance income. This is things where you're getting your artists, who draw stuff or they compose songs, performers, footballers, people who act. These are people like boxers. This is performance income. There is a sad story in Kenya where we remember one Conjestina Achieng. She used to be a boxer and she would earn from her performances. But when she was completely unable to do this, she was not able to earn any other income. And because she had not gotten financial training to actually know how to invest the income she had earned so far, now she actually lives on borrowing from people or asking for assistance. I think part of what we should be training ourselves to do is help people who are earning performance income, note that it is seasonal and that they should invest it so that it can earn them. We have athletes in Kenya, but what are they doing with their income? I think it is time we relooked at that concept and help people to make money, to turn performance income into long-term generational income. Then investment income. Now this is what we call passive income. Investment income actually comes from it is what we call money working for you. Let's say you've been a performer, you've earned some performance income, and you use that income to buy shares in another company. It actually helps you to earn an income where you're not doing anything. So once you send your money to that company, let's say Safaricom, sometimes, of course, if you send it to Mumias and it went down, then your money also, you lose your money. But if you give it in a good company that is performing, like the bank, like the banks around, like East Africa breweries, companies that are doing well, then you know that income will come to you. And those incomes include things like dividends from being an owner of an organization or a company, interest when you lend your money to maybe the government in bonds and those kind of things, rent when you have real estate and you can rent it out. That's investment income. Capital gains. Now, when you buy a share in a company, it increases in value. If you buy land, it increases in value. Those are capital. This investment income, and we call it passive because you can earn it even when you are asleep. Then let's talk about royalties. It's the highest and most sophisticated form of income that most of us are not aware of, or it is not part of what comes into our mind when we talk about income. Let me ask this. Royalty is the income you get for your intellectual, for exerting your intellect and creating something that comes out of your mind. So this is where we have people like, we have incomes like copyright or copywriting. This is the income that you earn when you write a book, compose a song, or you compose a poem. That kind of income is actually intellectual property and under copyright. Patents, you create, like the person who created this bulb or this computer, they have a patent for the parts that they created. Those patents can last or can bring in income for 100 years. And these people can actually franchise out or license other people to use the things they have created. So for example, if like McDonald's is an international chain of fast food. So if you want to start a McDonald's in Kenya, all you need to do is to go to the guys who created McDonald's in the US, and they will give you a franchise and you start it over here. And you pay them intellectual property in terms of a franchise income to them. Then there are trademarks and patents, and I've talked about those things. So royalties is the highest level of income that someone can earn, and it is part of the incomes that people who have gone to school should be thinking of as a source of income. Unfortunately, like I said, most graduates are not aware that apart from employment and business income, we have other sources of income like this. And this is part of what this thing is supposed to be doing with these trainings. Think about income in two ways: active and passive. When income is active, it means you have to be working for you to earn it. But when it is passive, it means you do not even have to be there for you to earn it. So income such as royalty incomes, once you have written this book, it continues to earn income. You don't have to be there. So it has a residual effect that is very sweet. Things like patents, 99 years, you created a medicine, for example, to treat something, you're a doctor. You created medicine. That medicine, you can patent it for, as I think, 20 to 30 years now. It's been reduced. The patent has been reduced. But most patent actually runs 99 years. That's good. That's good. Now, so passive income, earn it when you're asleep. Active income, you must be working. Employment income is actually active income. When you don't go to work, you don't earn. So once I share this write-up or this presentation, I want you to go down and rate these incomes here and add on to the list the other incomes that I might have left out, because there are like 25 types of income, and incomes is artistic endeavor. New incomes keep coming up, like I've just said, affiliate marketing is just coming up as a new source of income. Yeah, people, new sources of employment, new sources of, like, people are now starting to do things like internet marketing. These are new sources of income, and they will keep coming up. So this list can be extended all the way to 25. I'll just give you an example so that we can understand that it's not just one type of income that we can earn from. Next, I want to talk about how you can manage this solid income once it comes in. Don't worry about how this income will come in, because that is the next training or the next discussions that we'll have next week. Today, we simply want to learn a new slogan or a new colloquial word called chapo. We know that chapo in Kenya is something very nice. People like eating chapatis. But how can we, what is chapo in financial terms, in financial matters? What, earning income is the easy part, because once you have exerted your mind and you have exerted your energy and you have exerted your effort, all you have to do is ask yourself, what can I do to earn income? You go to school for 16 to 18 years to 20 years just trying to learn how to earn income. However, no one actually comes around to tell you how to manage that income once you earned it. And that is what Financial Matters is here to do. Help you earn the income, but also help you to manage it. And part of the slogans that we'll be using here is chapo. Now, chapo simply means an allocation methodology for your income. You've just earned a salary. How should you allocate it? So that you are not worried about, especially when you are a business person, you have just earned some business income. How do you avoid bankruptcy? How do you avoid the taxman coming to actually mortgage your things because or take your things because you have not paid your taxes? So if you use this concept of chapo, you'll be fine. So chapo simply means once you earn your income, 10% goes to charity. This is your, so any charity that you support, including tithing, is 10%. Some people always tell me that tithing is very expensive, or giving 10% to charity, I will starve. If you cannot live on 90% of your income, it simply means you can't also live on the 100%, because what is 10% out of the 100%? Yeah, think about it. Giving actually is the joy of earning. So you earn so that you can give. Anyway, that is also a topic for another day. But when you are using Chapo, just remember 10% goes to a charity account. Then there is the Her Majesty. Each country levies taxes, and this country we are calling them Her Majesty. So her taxes have to go in. and they are usually 30%. I've seen many guys who actually start a business, and once the business is running, they forget that they have to pay taxes. And when they do that, the government comes hard and actually disrupts their business. So remember, once some income drops into your account and you're an entrepreneur, 10% goes to charity, 30% you keep it in an account for your taxes. After you have done your returns, of course, if it is not exactly 30%, you'll either add or reduce, but it's better to have this money set aside somewhere. Then, of course, 10% to augment or grow or invest. Now, this 10% is what will create your passive income streams. Very important. It is a small drop out of your total earnings, but when you set aside 10% to simply say, this is what I'll be investing in the shares, or this is what I'll be investing in passive incomes, money to work for me, then that is the amount. It's 10%, and I'm calling it augment amount because this will create you new streams of income, and they're passive that you will not have to work to get. Then 20% is your personal income. For your general expenses, this is where you'll get your food, your etc. Now, this personal is just 20%. It simply means if you're earning 100,000, then you know that what you need to spend on you is just 20% because 10 has gone to charity, 30 has gone to taxes, 10 has gone to your passive income management, and 30% goes to your business. Remember, your business also has to grow. As you grow, your business should also be growing. So from every cent that you earn out of your business, you should set aside 30% to grow the same business. Remember, as your business grows, it also, all the other incomes also grow. That is why you can see we are allocating a huge amount there of 30%. So you're asking, if you look at this slide, you will see that we don't have a revenue number. We don't know how much revenue we will be earning if we indulge in entrepreneurship. If we are employed, we obviously know our income. But if you're an entrepreneur, you don't know your income. So you need a target. And that takes me to my next slide. I want to talk about this next slide, which is how much is your revenue? How much should be your revenue? You might not know this answer until you answer this question. If you look at all these items in your chapo, all the ingredients in your chapo, this is your wheat flour, your salt, your oil, and if you are using cinnamon to spice it, all those things are in your chapo. Those ingredients you might not know or you have no control over except one. And that one ingredient that you have control over is this one here. Our personal expenses. Why do we have control over this? Because we are the ones who choose whatever lifestyle we want to live. So if I want to live an expensive lifestyle, it is my choice. If I want to live a simple lifestyle, it's also my choice. Therefore, I can control my personal expenses. Therefore, out of the whole equation of 100%, I only know 20%. Let me give you an example using my own 20% here. Of my own 20% presentation. A minute. And, I can show you my desktop. So I'm setting up my desktop. And you can now see my desktop, I suspect. And if you look at it, you will see that I am crystal clear of what my burn rate is per month. That means I have sat down and worked out how much do I spend on food, and I've rounded it to the nearest. And you can see here, I spent 15,000 on my food, I spent 30,000 on my housing, I spent 5,000 on my clothing every month. That means I don't have to buy clothes every month. So for me and my family, maybe one person gets clothes, or we collect the money, and then when it's enough, then we all go and buy clothes. 5,000 a month. That means in a year, it gets to about 50, 60,000. Medical of 15,000. Yeah, of course, if you have a family, you have to take care of the medical. If you travel, so this will include all the kind of travel. Let's say you're going up country, etc. An average of 10,000, for example. But I want you to sit down and do your own, because you need to be crystal clear of what your personal burn rate is. Most individuals do not know how much they spend on a monthly basis. Therefore, they will never know what to aim at as entrepreneurs. That is why you will keep groping in the dark, because you don't know, do I spend 100,000? Do I spend 50? How do I change this thing so that I can make more money? So entertainment, let's say 5,000 a month. So this is if you have visitors, you have to buy them tea, you have to buy them chicken. Those of us who go out and drink, maybe it will not be 5,000, it will be more, because in one sitting you can blow 15,000. So if you know that number, then you can write it over there. Then if you have loans, you have to repay them. Some of us have loans everywhere. We have branch, we have Mshwari, we have KCB, M-Pesa. All those loans, you need to know the repayments that you require so that you can be able to pay them. And given that those were not business loans, then these things come here. Of course, if you have internet, then you have to add on to the list. You have telephone. Okay, like my telephone costs me 1,000 every month. It's postpaid. Yeah. Then my internet costs me 5,000 every month because it's postpaid. I know that every month I need at least 136,000. So what is your number? If there is anything that you can take out of this video today, is what is your number? You need to be clear of that burning rate, because 96% of the population do not know their burning rate. They don't know how much they spend on a monthly basis. Therefore, if I know my burning rate is 136,000 every month, this is just my example, my personal example. You can have your own example. I can actually come out and calculate what numbers I need over here. So I know personal it was 136, and I know this is 20%. 20% of my income. Now, over here we say charity would be 10%. We said Her Majesty taxes would be 30%. That is the tax rate in Kenya. And our augmentation income, our growth income, our investment income would be 10%. And I need to reinvest in my business. So I take 30% back in my business so that it can grow. Therefore, how much should be my revenue? My revenue is 100%. Therefore, if I were to calculate this, all I need to do is to say, if 136% is 20%, therefore my 100% would be, and I just take 136,000 divided by 0.02, which is 2%, or 20%, which is 0.2. So that gives me 680,000. 680,000. Now, this is where faith comes in. So for me, and for you, when you come up with this number, do not worry about where will I get 680,000. You need to have faith, because you are surviving. Therefore, if you are surviving, it means somehow from your burn rate. And I have a comprehensive blog on how to budget. You can always check out that blog on on Financial Matters and see how do you budget, so that if raising 680,000 is too much for you, however, it is never too much. Once you know what your target is, And in financial matters, we are going to work on this number. And we need numbers that are out of our league, because our mind will activate and actualize what we think about. So if we think we need 680,000, our mind will give us a way to earn 680,000.